We're back at the STUART line. That's all right. you can get in the picture. Caroline's like, sorry, I'm in the picture. But we're in STUART Line Cruises. Let's get in and have a look. We're going to get a boat trip in Exmouth. There we go, lovely. Da, da.
I took it already prepared, you see.
Beautiful, okay.
Lovely, so you pay by card, sir?
Yes, please, yeah, thank you.
Lovely. That's it.
So we're not going for the actual cream tea option today, are we? I read it on your little website.
To be honest, people do.
Loads of awards up here as well.
Pardon?
Very much, yeah. We're just having a good old chat here in the STUART Line Cruises and reading all their lovely plaques and awards and stuff like that. They've got loads going on. I've been like trawling around the website this morning, and there's just.
And the boats are immaculate. I mean, this is the boat you're going to be on. You're going to be on the Pride of Exmouth. This is mainly
That's the one we're going to go on.
Yeah, that's mainly like the sea boats. That does the river cruises, and it also does the estuary, and then we've also got the Tudor Rose, which is that boat.
Beautiful. That's the Tudor Rose.
Which and the boats all had maintenance, all being
Lovely, isn't it? It's like stunning. I just like the sort of castle up there. Look, you know.
You'll see that.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Oh, look at this. It's excitement time again. Cruising up the estuary in this little bad boy. The Pride of Exmouth. Wow. There's such nice coloured boats as well. Just such a great vessel. Stunning. Look at it across that water. That view that we're getting really used to. Right then, let's see where we're going. Yeah, I think up the back somewhere really, then I can hook off the back. But that's all right, thanks a lot. Go up the back a bit, I think. We'll get up the back end. Nice. Yeah, over there. We'll go over that side, I think. Yeah, perfect.
Do you want to go there?
We're getting comfortable. They've given us some like little blankets, so we've sat on one and put the other one over our knees. It's only May. It's not summer, but it's not too bad. But so it's just a little bit breezy on the water.
Not too bad, is it?
It's a little bit breezy, a little bit of a drizzle, but we're hoping the rain's going to hold off. The engine's started. Oh, here we go then.
Please feel free to come and ask one of us a question. We will do our best to answer it. Marie, we do have a nice selection of ales and ciders available, as well as some wines and spirits. Of course, 11 o'clock, never too early.
Oh, we're in touching distance of the spit. Dawlish Warren spit right there. Look at that. Wow, these angles, the angles we've never seen before. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. There's the entrance to the harbour. We're walking around that a couple of days ago. Just looking back over towards the seafront, we can see the Heydays right down there. Theatre, great views. Yeah, I think at some point we need to get back on Dawlish Spit. It's lovely over there. It was a while ago since we were over there last.
This is Dawlish Warren. Looks a bit like an island from Exmouth, but it's not. It is a sand spit connected to the mainland about half a mile away up at Dawlish Warren Resort. On the Warren there is an 18-hole golf course as well as a nature reserve, which at high tide is full of wading bird species such as the oyster catcher and the curlew. If you see any of these today, I will. It is only 200 metres away from Exmouth, but it will take you 45 minutes to get there, as you have to drive all the way up to Exeter and back down the other side.
Got a huge bit of wood there.
Fishing fleet, yeah, pretty much all in today. I think one, because it's not very nice out at sea, and two, because it is a bank holiday, so the fish market probably isn't open. But Shelley Marie is the red one just coming up on the right hand side. She's a pelagic trawler, mackerel, pollock, as well as some flatfish and roundbait.
Judy G. Oh, Judy G. Lovely little vessel. Look at that. So compact. Wow. Oh, the views around here are just incredible. Just really nice to get out on the water, especially the day with the cloud, and like I say, I like it a little bit ambient. When you get just a real blue sky day, it's not so kind of dramatic, but this is really drama today on this boat. Wow. And to think that 2 days ago we were walking all the way up the other side of the estuary. It's just great to get another aspect on it from a different direction, especially out on the water.
Poking out the top of the water, you can see an old shipwreck. This is the wreck of the Southern Coaster. In December 1942, she was chartered by the Admiralty to bring coal down from the coast of Yorkshire to Exmouth. However, when she got here, she was shipwrecked on the sandbanks off of Exmouth seafront. She was there for a total of 8 days until a southwesterly gale blew in and wrecked her hull even more. She was eventually refloated and brought into the estuary for some repairs, but as you can see, they never got very far with those repairs. And here she lies today, home to many of the cormorants. All of the cargo of coal on board, that was all distributed out amongst the residents of Exmouth and this village behind it here on the left, Cockwood.
Just sort of catching views. I was just saying to Caroline, this is the little harbour of Cockwood over there, over that way, and we've been sort of on the other side of that, the Cockwood Inn, just on the harbour side, and walking along and heading towards like Star Cross. It is called Cockwood. The locals call it Cockwood. It used to be a very busy little fishing port until they built the main line from Paddington to Penzance and the railway bridge going across the entrance to the harbour over there. This means that the harbour is now only accessible at high tide by small little rowboat, and all the fishing has stopped. Some of you may know Cockwood as it was the place where they grew the violets for the perfume Devon violets. Well, there you go then, Devon violets. The perfume Devon violets. We remember Devon violets, don't we? Yeah. There you have it. Lovely. God, it's just so good out here on the water. I am lapping it up. It's just so scenic. Wow. Definitely worth a pan if you get down here. Get out on this boat. Mad. Oh, this is a good bit. This is where you're getting the views of the train coming along. It's really neat. Look at that. Looking across the water at the train. We're moving, the train's moving. Wow, that is pretty cool. Look at that. Just such great views in both directions. He's going to just run through Starcross station. There he goes. I've got a little passenger ferry boat whizzing by. Just catching views of the jetty.
The small town or village here on the left-hand side. This is Starcross, and the large red sandstone building in the centre there with the flag flying. That is the last remaining pumping station on what was Brunel's atmospheric railway. The pumping station used to pump all of the air out of the tracks ahead of the train. This would create a vacuum which sucked the train along the tracks. However, the sealants on the line were made of leather, and this leather was lubricated with pig fat. This attracted a lot of rats, and the rats chewed through the leather, meaning the line wasn't airtight and therefore didn't work. Today, the line makes up part of the West Coast Main Line, and the building itself belongs to the Starcross Fishing and Cruising Club.
Just see the overbridge over the railway at the station, Starcross station as well there. Such great views off the water here, especially all the little houses along different colours. Just starting to get views of this like sandbar that runs down. There's someone out walking their dog on it across there. And I think here comes another train. Love it, absolutely love it. Look at that, pressing on down through. Steaming on through Starcross station, right down along. Epic. So that's the start of the little road that goes along towards Powderham Castle.
Now, all these moorings you can see around us, there's just over 2,000 of them in the Estuary. During the height of the summer, pretty much from now until September, they are all full. During the winter months though, all these boats go away for a nice bottom scrub and a fresh coating of anti-foul. You see here on the left hand side though, two more shipwrecks. These boats never received that treatment. They were left for a number of years out on their moorings. They eventually sunk. No one could find out who owned them. And Exeter City Council, who are in charge of the safety of navigation here on the Ex, decided to tow them up here and have left them to rot.
Nothing like a good shipwreck for a bit of drama as well. Great stuff.
Just coming up on the left-hand side here, poking out from behind the trees, you can start to see Powderham Castle. It was built in 1390 by Sir Philip Courtenay and it remains in the Courtenay family today. It is the home to the Earl and Countess of Devon. There's a flagpole on top, but today the flag is not flying, which means they're not in residence. They are actually going through a divorce at the moment, so that might have something to do with it. But the oldest resident of the castle died a few years ago and she was 146 years old. Her name was Timothy, and Timothy was a tortoise. She was called Timothy because back in the 1800s, when she was born, they didn't know how to tell the sex of a tortoise, so assumed she was male. In the grounds of the castle, you can find up to 650 fallow deer, and during the summer months, in fact I think they've got one there at the moment, they hold large events such as festivals and concerts. You can see some large white and grey buildings. That is CTCRM, Commando Training Camp Royal Marines. This is where all the Royal Marines go to carry out their initial training. They conduct a 32-week training package. All for the officers, it's 62 weeks before completing a final exercise up on Dartmoor and passing out with the award of their world-famous Green Beret. Back in 1982, this is where Prince Edward went, and he went there for 3 days. Now as you keep coming down again, just ahead, you can see the quaint village of Lympstone, set in amongst the sandstone cliffs over there. Back in the 1800s, Lympstone used to be a whaling village. They used to hunt the whales out in Lyme Bay and in the English Channel and then tow them back to Lympstone for processing. Nowadays, of course, you won't find any whales in Lympstone, but you will find the washing lines of all the residents that live in the waterside properties over there. They need to know the times of high water unless they want their washing washed twice.
So that's where we were 2 days ago, Lympstone, and that's the commando barracks right up there in the distance.
It's just over 1 mile wide. It is also the shallowest part. Here today, as I say, just an hour and a half before low tide, I have just 20 centimetres of water underneath of the boat at the moment. At low tide, this is as far up the estuary as we can come from Exmouth.
Up into the captain's compartment, is it?
Yeah, wheelhouse.
The wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. So you got like a depth finder here? Is that a bit like a depth finder?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Depth finder.
At the bottom of the boat, you've got a sonar,
yeah,
which gives you a depth essentially. So yeah.
And then all the navigational kind of like routes, just follow the route round like a sat-nav kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, we've marked the deepest route with these lines here.
Yeah.
Because the chart actually, it was last surveyed maybe 50, 60 years ago, so it changes a lot each year.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can see here actually by the chart we should be running aground.
Okay.
Whereas we're not, because it's out of date.
Fair
so
play.
You have to do it by eye, follow the boys, and mark your own channel.
What engine? You got a Scania engine in this?
Yeah, 2 Scanias.
2 Scania engines. Ooh.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting.
It is.
Nice.
Obviously the bar.
Right. Okay. So he's got some CCTV running, and I can actually see the engine up there.
Yeah.
That is great, isn't it? Look at that. So there is the Scania engine, and keeping on everything around the boat, the bar. Most important about the bar. Yeah. There's no rum being taken.
Exactly. No rum. No.
But what a great view from the wheelhouse, though. Oh, absolutely amazing.
Yep. Next one's from here. The houses on the hillside, that is Brixington Housing Estate. The land wedged between the houses and the estuary, that is all Lower Holston Farm. It was all owned by a farmer called Mr. Long. He was offered up to £12 million for the development of that land. This was about 25 years ago, so you can imagine what it'd be worth today. However, he never wanted houses on there, and when he died a few years ago, he left it all to the National Trust. With a vineyard in front of it. That is Lympstone Manor. It is a boutique hotel and restaurant. It's owned by the celebrity chef Michael Caines. The restaurant has a Michelin star, but if you want to stay there for one night, the cheapest room will set you back £420. And on the topic of hospitality, this floating shed just ahead of us here, this is the Riviera Cafe. It is actually quite a nice seafood restaurant. You can visit it between April and September. When you book, if you can book, it does get fully booked quite quickly at the start of the year, but you get a 2-hour slot. They have their own water taxi to bring you out here, and then you catch a taxi back. Now their first table is at 12 o'clock.
Across the flats. This is where we walked. So he's got to be super careful with all these like sandbars hovering around. You got to know the route to jiggle your way back down through.
Cockles and mussels here on the left. Very important for the bird life on the estuary. I mentioned earlier on about the oyster catchers and the curlews. This is where they like to come at low tide to do their foraging, looking for small mollusks and worms for their lunch. There might be 1 or 2 oyster catchers, I think, in the pools that are coming up here on the left-hand side. Small black and white birds with orange feet, or orange legs and orange beaks. The curlew is larger than the oyster catcher, more sort of grey-brown in colour, with a downward curving beak.
Oh, this is nice now that it's just starting to dry out. Sandbar.
The blackbird stood on the sand here on the left, that is a cormorant. You get cormorants and shags here, the shag being slightly smaller than the cormorant, and when you get close enough to it, you'll see that a shag has a bit of green tinge to its plumage, whereas a cormorant is pretty much all black. Both birds dive underwater to catch their lunch, though. They eat up to 2 times their own body weight in fish every day, before sitting themselves on a mooring buoy or a sandbank, often with their wings outstretched, to dry their feathers off and digest their food. There's sandbank here on the left. This is known as Bull Hill Bank. It is the second highest sandbank in the Ex, and it is quite often where we find the seals. Today I haven't seen any seals yet though, unfortunately. But we do get the North Atlantic grey seal here, as well as the common or harbour seal. The grey seal being larger than the common seal. It can grow up to 2.3 metres in length and up to 0.3 of a tonne. That's 300 kilograms in weight. And the last ship left Exmouth for good. The main trade was in aggregates and cattle feed, as well as china clay from the local china clay pits down in Newton Abbot. That trade has now moved down the South Devon coastline to Teignmouth, which is now Lyme Bay's only commercial port. Exmouth, however, is now a successful leisure marina, with a lot of expensive developments around the outside of it, the most expensive of which was the penthouse in the orange building here on the left. That was originally built for the lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin, as he is from Exeter, and his then wife Gwyneth Paltrow. However, when it was completed, they decided they didn't want it. They split up, and I don't think that's related, but and it was sold for £1.2 million.
We've just come on the kind of seafront now, so getting even more views.
Exmouth seawall here on the left hand side recently undergone a £12 million renovation project to protect Exmouth from rising sea levels. It is a Grade 2 listed building. All of these large white and cream buildings on the left here, they are all built on reclaimed land. You see where the church is on top of the hill, the line of houses in front of the church, that is the Royal Beacon, and this was originally Exmouth seafront. The land was reclaimed back in the Victorian times when Exmouth became a very popular seaside resort.
Oh, there's our favourite restaurant, Hades. Look.
Up ahead of us, just on the left here, you can see the very end of Exmouth's 2.5 mile long seafront. There's a large red sandstone headland down there, that is Orcombe Point. There's a small monument on top of it that you might just be able to make out there. That is called the Geo Needle, and this marks the start of the Jurassic Coast. Down here in Exmouth we have the oldest end of the Jurassic Coast, at just under 230 million years old. The coastline stretches all the way down to Old Harry Rocks in Dorset, where the youngest end is 70 million years old. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the only natural, well, up until very recently, the only natural one in the UK. There is now another one in northern Scotland. But it does put it on par with the Grand Canyon in Arizona and the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. Part of the English Channel, and these sandbanks, these are known as pole sands, and this is where the southern coaster, the wreck we saw at the start of the trip, was shipwrecked. Today, and if you're staying here on holiday, I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay. If I can just ask you to remain seated until we've come alongside the quay, I will let you know when it's safe to get off. But thank you very much for sailing with Stuart Line. We hope to see you again soon on one of our many other cruises. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Oh, nice little ball. Well, that is it. We're back on dry land at Exmouth. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and what an epic little trip that was. If you come down to Exmouth, definitely do that.
Look at warm
Incredible.
day.
But you want a warm day. It's a little bit breezy on the water. Back on the dry land now, bit warmer, but bit breezy on the estuary, innit? Oh, but it's all good.